Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to reminisce and look through your endless backlog of video games and pick which one you want to play, but realize they all look good, lose interest because the human brain can only process so many different choices at once, and then proceed to play a game you've already sunk in hundreds of hours into already. With the age of digital media comes a time where as a species we get too many damn options to choose from what we want to watch, wear, eat, and especially with how many video games are available to play and how many continue to come out each and every day. Netflix syndrome is what they call it, but at least there's always a few that stick out amongst everything that catch your attention. But even then, when are you really gonna play them? Someday you will. Just after that last match of Rainbow Six Siege or after your 7th playthrough of Bloodborne. Regardless, one day you will play them, and when you do, hopefully it will have been worth it. In any case, here's a brief look into the video games I hope one day I can play myself. These are my top 10 games to play for my never-ending backlog. Transition. For my number 10 spot, it will be Resident Evil 4. Oh, Resident Evil 4, which version do I play from you? The GameCube, the Wii, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Windows, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 6, fucking Zeebo. What else is there I can play you on? I can play on the phone? No, I don't think I can. Oh god, this is the Zeebo? In all seriousness, I plan on playing it on the PlayStation 4 as it runs the smoothest compared to everything else, but I did hear the Wii version is a superior experience, so I've been putting it off from playing it until I find a modestly cheap Wii version to at least try and see what the big hubbub is about. Not to mention, I'm still running through Code Veronica X and the Resi 2 remake, so there's also that. I'm definitely not into any rush or anything, so that's why it's my number 10 spot as of right now. So, in the meantime, I guess the Zeebo version will have to suffice for now. Words cannot express my love for Mega Man, the classic Mega Man series at least. I'm currently going through the X series, but as soon as I'm done with that series, you bet your ass I'm finally going to dive into this series. But if you are unfamiliar with Mega Man, then just know the series can be brutally hard to play, and it's for that reason why I haven't been able to play the Zero series, as the X series is definitely stalling it for me. Not to mention, the DS collection was a bit too pricey for me, but with the recent announcement of the Mega Man ZX Legacy collection coming in January of 2020, I definitely do plan on picking that up and seeing what all the hubbub's about. I'm just hoping that the series isn't going to make me want to check out my controller out of the window, but you can only hope, right?
Welcome to San Andreas, I'm CJ from Grove Street, land of the heinous, gangbangers in cold heat.
For the number 8 spot in the list, it is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I can't believe it's been nearly 15 years from this day that this game made its official debut into the world, and I've yet to play it, albeit a couple times I was at a friend's house and we were dicking around the world with cheats and whatnot. I really have no excuse for this game, as I own the game on both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox 360, but I've yet to turn it on and see what it has to offer. A little part of me says I won't like the wonky controls or the physics of this 2004 game, mostly having to deal with the fact that GTA 5 has made me not like the other series just because the game handles so flawlessly compared to the others in the series. But regardless, I'm still intrigued about what the story is about because I hear that's what most people like it for. Not to mention, I'm a huge sucker for top 10 videos or best of anything lists, as you can no doubt tell from the video, and somewhere in most mainstream lists from IGN, WatchMojo, Kotaku, and other video game news outlets, you can always bet that San Andreas is in the top 10, or if not, in the top 5 spot. You can also just ask anyone who plays video games and what they think of San Andreas, and most of them agree on how fun the game is, or at least have a history with it. Such as mine, with going to my friend's house and playing it with cheat codes, or going around the world and killing people and taking prostitutes in the car and trying to find Bigfoot and all that other stuff. It's a game I can't wait to try out, but I definitely want to play it before it hits that 20-year anniversary mark, so still got 5 years, right? Coming in at number 7 is Team Ninja's 2017 PS4 exclusive Neo. 2017. Dang, it's already been 3 years already, and the sequel was announced too! Just goes to show I'm bad at time managing and need to constantly stop playing multiplayer games if I ever want to finish my single player games. Anyways, I was introduced to this game by one of my friends who adored the beta, alpha, and whatever demo that was released for this game, and of course the main game itself. I can't remember if he beat it or not, but I do remember him talking about it for a while when it came out, and seeing gameplay for it did intrigue me, but at the time I was more interested in my Switch and exploring Hyrule than anything else at the time. So like anything else in 2017, it went into the never-ending backlog. I absolutely love the Souls series, and anything in that game style always makes me want to try it out, so this is something I'm definitely going to pick up as soon as I finally beat Demon Souls and my third playthrough of Dark Souls on my PS4. Although this game seems to be much more fast paced than those games, but not as fast paced as something like Bloodborne, so I'm intrigued to see how it all plays out. I do own it, however, after buying it from someone from like $10, so let me just put it there. There we go. Someday, buddy, someday. Speaking of which, I literally bought a PS3 for 3 games: Infamous 2, Metal Gear Solid, and Demon Souls. Demon Souls has been under my radar ever since I played Dark Souls 2 back in 2014 under the Scholar of the First Sin edition, and I absolutely fell in love with that game and I wanted to play the rest of the series. But then Dark Souls 3 came out, so I got that, and of course I played the best in the Souls series, in my honest opinion, Bloodborne. I was in a Souls kind of high for my junior and senior year of high school and wanted to play them all. I eventually did go back and play Dark Souls 1, and I kind of enjoyed that one, but I really just have always wanted to play Demon Souls, and I finally got the chance to get it once I bought my PS3 last year. I remember putting it into my PS3, turning it on, playing about an hour worth. I think I did some, I don't even remember what I did, honestly. It was almost a year ago, but then, life got in the way. I had a kid, and, I got married, changed my jobs, finishing up my associates, and getting ready to tackle my bachelor's. And here we are in 2019 with only a few more months till 2020. And I still haven't taken Demon Souls out of this PS3, so it's still there and just waiting for me to play it. Life is this young man's excuse as to why I haven't touched it yet, but hey, one day, right? In the short amount of time I have played it though, I was thoroughly enjoying what was offered and thought the game was fun until I died, saw that I had half health, and still had no idea where to go. I'm still itching to play it again, but more than likely I will start over and try it again sometime hopefully soon, as I'm currently going through another game as of right now, so I want to tackle one game at a time before I overwhelm myself. I also don't have any friends that ask for help, as none of them have played it before, so yeah, I need to probably go look at a guide or something while I'm also playing it. I always think that playing in order of the series of like the release date and stuff is always fun, just to see how the series progressed over the years, which is as to why I'm playing Halo from the first one and going all the way up to the newest one to get ready for Infinite, and I do that with every single series. Speaking which, on the topic of Halo, for my number 5 spot on my list comes Halo Reach, the 6th entry into the Halo franchise that was still developed by Bungie before being handed over to 343 Industries, for which apparently the series was doomed to be ruined by. I wouldn't know any of that, as to the time of this recording I'm still going through Halo 2, for which I can then play 3, ODST, and then hopefully Reach if I'm not burned out by then. I had a tough time for this spot, as I wasn't sure if I'm more excited for this game or for Halo 3, as both get praised for being the best in the franchise. I have had a history with the multiplayer side of both games, but not the story itself. Especially more so with Halo 3. Whenever I went to my friend's house when I was in grade school, all we would play is either Left 4 Dead 2 or Infected for Halo 3. I have extremely fond memories of Halo 3, more so than Reach in that regard. But for the amount of people that told me the story of Reach was god tier, I decided to place Reach for my number 5 spot for that alone. And that is a good prequel for the first game that got me really interested. Maybe this spot should have been for the whole Halo franchise itself, but Reach seemed to stand out to me because I hear the most amount of praise for that game. I also very much enjoy space games, and anything to do with killing aliens and such is always cool to me.
This is a big deal. You're extracting a marker.
Oh, I love Dead Space. This is another series that I quite enjoy, mostly because I love horror films, and horror films and a video game together, that's just like peanut butter and jelly to me. But it's not just the games that I like, but I also like the whole universe itself of Dead Space. I like the movies, the comics, and anything related to it is really up my alley. So my number 4 spot has to be something I own but yet to play, which is Dead Space Extraction. From my understanding, it's a prequel to the first game and plays like House of the Dead. For one thing, I do enjoy a good prequel when it's done right. And second, I love House of the Dead, so theoretically, I should have already played this baby like 6 or 7 times by now. But I haven't even so much as taken a quick peek at it yet. Reason being, I'm just too lazy to pull out my Wii U, and because I don't want to collecting a bunch of dust, as I plan on finishing a couple other games before tackling Wind Waker, Super Mario Galaxy 2, and this game. But sometimes I do get the itch to play from time to time, especially since I went through and played the first one again after not playing it since release. And I still love the fuck out of that game, and I can't wait to see what this installment has to offer. Although I do need to get some batteries for this damn thing. I hate batteries on controllers. We're down to the top 3, the cream of the crops, the coup de grace. It's the Metroid Prime Trilogy, baby. Another game from my Wii U backlog comes from a trilogy of games that's all included into one neat little package. I remember when it was announced that it was coming onto the Wii U during some Nintendo Direct, then I remember buying it, and then I remember Smash came out, and I instantly forgot about everything else on my Wii U and made it to the Smash machine. I was in high school at the time, and the group of friends that I have all love Smash, so that's all anyone ever played for the next 2 to 5 years, I want to say. There was a time in my life where I played Smash literally every single day after school. Nevertheless, the Metroid Prime Trilogy was caught in the crossfire and was put into my backlog. I did, however, play a little bit into the first game and really enjoy what was there, but I definitely need to give it more attention. The sort of haunting atmosphere and the feeling that you're all alone on this big empty world was something I never really experienced before with a Nintendo game, so that was very unique to say at the least. This is also in my top 3 because I did recently beat the Samus Returns remake, so I'm definitely in the mood to see what the others in the series have to offer, as that one was the first I've ever beaten into the series thus far. I also love FPS games, space games, science fiction kind of things, spooky atmospheres, which makes this something that's totally under my radar in the foreseeable future. One day, the Wii U, I'll take you out of your box and into my arms, but not just yet, because I still got 2 more spots to fill.
Upon defeating Ares, Kratos, the once mortal warrior, finds himself on a journey to the ends of the earth.
This spot on the list is more so for the franchise as a whole than just tied to one game of the series. I have never played a single God of War game in my whole life, and I didn't even know what kind of game it was until I looked up gameplay for it back when Ascension came out. It has also felt like I've had a lot of foreshadowing in my life to get into the series, but have yet to take it because of what other games took up my time. Like, I had a chance to play the first 2, I own both of them on the PlayStation 2, but then I got an Xbox 360 the same year, so I never went back to the PS2 unfortunately. Then God of War 3 was out on PS Plus for a while, and I was going to play it, but then I wanted to play the other 2 first, so I passed to the franchise again. And lastly, the reboot came out. Had a chance to play it, but I wanted to play the older games first. I kept shackling myself to the point where now I just haven't played any of them yet because I wanted to play the games in order. But really at this point, I'll play any of them just to say I've experienced it. Especially God of War 2018. I know you don't have to play the others in this series to understand things, but I did hear that there are a couple Easter eggs for the old franchise, so I kind of want to experience the game and like, oh hey, look at that. Like, I remember that from God of War 2 or from God of War 3. And not to mention, I absolutely love The Last of Us, and that's where Santa Monica Studios seems to be pointing the direction towards with that God of War game. As for now, after I go through the Halo franchise, I definitely will either consider going through this series as I love Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, but there is one more game from my backlog that I can't keep postponing any longer. My number 1 pick is Metal Gear Solid: The Legacy Collection for PlayStation 3. This game that I currently hold in my hands contains some of the most highly rated video games of all time, and something that now sits on my shelf, taunting me to finally play and experience the hype behind it. I can't wait to pop this baby in and play it because I loved Metal Gear Solid 5, but that's not exactly how the older games are at all. I don't mind tank controls in the older PS1 era. For instance, I absolutely love the Raccoon City Trilogy, but this looks to have something more complicated game design and something that looks kind of entirely outdated. I don't want to go in thinking about how bad the controls are and instead focus on the story that I hear is top notch, but I'm so scared of hating the gameplay to even consider playing it as of right now. But I keep seeing Snake every generation of console I go into. Playing Phantom Pain was absolutely phenomenal, and having him back into Smash Ultimate made me want to play the series even more so. Especially with that Snake Eater theme. Oh, I love the music, and I hope it's amazing in the rest of the series. A certain mood has to be in the air though. Dedication and time has to be present if I ever want to open the seal and tackle the behemoth of the gaming industry. A certain time and place will hopefully come across me one day so I can finally play the whole series. But as of right now, I don't have that feeling, which is why it is my #1 spot for my never-ending backlog of video games. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the video, but I was curious, what are some games that you have from your never-ending backlog? Are they mostly PC games, Nintendo, a certain genre, or a series? Please tell your list and discuss it in the comments below, as I thoroughly enjoy reading everyone's different story. Especially people with jobs and who are older than 18 years old who have all the money but no time to play them. With that, I hope you all have a wonderful day or night. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and farewell.